What's happening, Captain? Welcome to the channel. My name's Jacob. I'm a previously top 5 ladder player in ADV OU, and I'm going to be analyzing my matches from the ongoing Jimcool Winter Classic tournament. Let's jump right into it. So I'm going to be going over my match with Bongmoodeus here. Now, I don't actually know how to pronounce this. It might be Bongmoodeus. I'm probably just going to call him Bong moving forward because of the funny word, but he is also, a pretty good player. I'm excited to go over my matches with them. Now, to start, I actually got this team from ZPanther. He was really nice after my matches with him, and he gave me a bunch of teams to play with, and I was really appreciative because I actually don't have that many teams. So over the past week or so, I've been laddering with this one. I've been liking it a lot. It's got Boatar, which is really good into Blissey. Bong has been using a lot of Blissey. It's also got Hydro Pump Salamence, Drill Peck Skarmory for some aggression. I've always liked Celebi. Celebi's a really fun Pokemon to use, and it's great with Spike's structures. I, of course, also have the Agility Metagross and Claydol for a Rapid Spin. And this team has been really nice just into other Spike's teams. It's got good aggression, and also it allows you to play a little bit slower if you choose to as well. So it's been a really fun team at a good pace, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Admittedly, I haven't had that much success on ladder with it, but I just really wanted to play a new team that I haven't played with before. And so we'll go ahead and see how that plays out for me in game one. All right, let's hop into it. So I find that this is a taunt Skarmory, and now my Skarmory doesn't have that much recourse, so I have to leave. Gengar is very scary for pretty much every team I play, so I choose to go to Tyranitar, faking that I've got Pursuit, even though I've only got Crunch. If he just allows me to Crunch him here, then that's big. So I'm trying to fake that I've got a 50-50 going on, but he just switches out and I end up crunching the Swampert. Now, thankfully here I actually get the 50-50 correct. He doesn't go Gengar, which would have been pretty terrible for me. Even if he does go Gengar, I can Psychic it and hopefully not lose my Claydol in that situation. But my Rapid Spin allows me to get the spikes off the screen, so that's pretty great. I got a Hydro Pump crit on this turn, and admittedly, I don't, that obviously matters quite a bit, but if I chose to Fire Blast there, it's doing the same damage. So honestly, I don't really understand the Go Jirachi there. Maybe he was anticipating that I would swap it up, because say he thinks that I'm going to Fire Blast and goes Swampert, then Fire Blast isn't doing that much. He might have anticipated Dragon Claw. That's likely what happened there, but thankfully, even though I made a poor choice in move, my crit actually made up for that. Now here on this turn, I make a pretty big mistake where I choose to Thunder there, which just completely does nothing into the Swampert. Now he knows probably what set of Tyranitar I'm using, and honestly at this point, this Tyranitar is not helping me out so much. I really want to get rid of Gengar, so I choose to Drill Peck into this, which wasn't great. I would much rather not have a Skarmory burned, but getting some damage on Gengar is really good. If it's Thunderbolting there, I live every time, and I do very substantial damage and work on getting it removed. It wasn't a great play, but I don't get too punished for that. A burned Skarmory isn't great, but you know. Now here I choose to stay in Psychic with Clay Ball, knowing that he's going to expect me to leave, and I get a lucky crit on the Aerodactyl. I can go meta here every time because of the Pokemon I've revealed, none of them... Listen, he's never EQing into Celebi, Claydol, Skarmory, and Salamence. Like, you just don't click EQ into that team, so the Metagross entry is really safe. Now here I should have realized that this is actually an offensively leaning Skarmory because that Peck does absurd damage to me, and it would only do that much if the Skarmory is attack invested. So, I mean, that's something I should have noticed way earlier, but it's something I'm able to use to my advantage in the future for sure. And here I choose to recover, get Leech Seed healing while he Drill Pecks me. I can't cycle that too many times because that'll result in me getting crit and losing. And we both switch at the same time, which is kind of funny. This crit's unfortunate, but I'm not too salty about it. I've gotten a crit too. And losing that Skarm there is a big deal because it means that this Swampert is really scary to me. Like, I don't have any spikes, so I can't pressure Swampert as it comes in. So I need to put in a lot more work to make sure that Swampert can die in the future. Thankfully, Celebi is really helpful for that. I just need to make sure I never lose Celebi, and I can still maintain a hold on this game. And here I just choose to Meteor Mash this Skarmory to get some spikes on my side, and I think that this is a worthwhile trade because that means that the Skarmory is going to die at some point. It is posing the biggest threat to my Celebi right now, which is kind of funny. I sack Tyranitar because this Tyranitar is just not going to be doing too much in this game anymore. I choose to put in Claydol to get a Rapid Spin, but this was a dog shit play because that Hydro Pump would have KO'd me. It missed, so I was rewarded for playing like ass, but that happens sometimes. Oh, and he also he's never going to choose to Hydro Pump here again, but he might want to Ice Beam into the obvious Celebi, so in this circumstance, if I swap the Metagross, that's pretty safe. And now that it's Pert v Metagross, I can swap in Celebi safely. Now here I make a pretty, I think, smart play. This Salamence is only going to be helpful to me for taking out the Skarmory as well as dealing some substantial damage to this Snorlax, and this Snorlax is proposing, like, it's proving to be probably one of the biggest problems for my team. Metagross can handle it, but like, it's just a really good idea for me to trade away this Salamence here because it doesn't do anything against Arrow. Gengar KOs it with Ice Punch if it's got it. The Swampert Ice Beams me. This doesn't have Hidden Power Grass. So really, I think that using Salamence to take away a good portion of Snorlax's health here is a really smart play. And now I can clean it up with Metagross, which outspeeds. And at this point, I feel like my defensive core, the Celebi, the Claydol, and the Metagross, can handle really pretty much anything that his team has. Like, the only thing that this team can't handle is Fire-type moves. Obviously, Claydol is fine into that, but like, man, Metagross and Celebi are ruined by it. So if the Gengar has Fire Punch, then that's the biggest issue. But other than that, like, I'm pretty okay. I'm going to be spending a lot of this game just going Celebi, Leech Seeding, recovering. That's pretty much my main way forward at this point in time. Now this is a really big turn, because this reveals the hidden power type of the Aerodactyl. It's not very effective into Metagross, meaning it's gotta be flying. And what that means is that Celebi can live any singular hit from this Aerodactyl. If it were Hidden Power Bug, that would KO Celebi easily. But I know it's not Hidden Power Bug, because that would do neutral damage against Metagross. So now my Celebi is an even bigger threat. And on this turn I realize this is a half-health Swampert and everything else takes substantial damage to Psychic. Psychic goes stupid here, and it does so much damage to that Skarmory. I did not anticipate that. If I had thought about the damage that it was doing to me with Drill Peck, I would have realized that there wasn't much special defense investment, and that would clearly do, like, substantial damage to that Skarmory, but I hadn't realized that until now. And now I know that this Celebi is huge. This Celebi is actually everything for me. And so now I just choose to pull the trigger and take whatever hit it throws at me. I Psychic it, KOing the main threat. My defensive core has proven to really undo this team at this point. I mean, there's still some room for him to come back depending on what he does with this Gengar. If it booms on my Celebi, then there's still a chance that, the Swampert predicts my boom with Claydol or Metagross, and it's a dubious endgame there. Like, Swampert can destroy both of those Pokemon. So even now, I still really want to keep my Celebi because it ensures my win in this game. So I swap the Metagross. And now that he's Ice Punched me, I can really just click against what's in front of me. I don't even really have to think at this point. If I just Meteor Mash here, At best, it KOs Gengar. At worst, it does damage to Swampert, and I'm still moving progress. Or, sorry, I'm still moving forward. I could EQ this, and it wouldn't matter if a Gengar came in. I could also mash, but like, why? I'm getting Lefty's chip this whole time, too. And even a burn to mash does 36 to Gengar. The attack raise, I don't really think matters. I know he protects there, I EQ, and then after that protect, I opt to just boom on this turn. Even if he gets the second protect, I have Celebi, everything's fine. This is just a faster way to deal with it. And I feel like that was a great game overall. I did do well at knowing what the Aerodactyl was going to do, and that feels nice. I feel like Bong played it fantastically too. I was able to discern what my win condition was a little bit better than he was. That, or maybe my team is just good into his team and I lucked out. I don't know. The Boatar didn't end up helping out so much because that's meant to be really good into Blissey. He didn't bring Blissey, but still, I felt like the rest of the team was very well equipped to handle that team. So in Game 2, I chose to bring a bit of a slower team. I didn't know what Bong was going to end up doing after that loss, but I did want to bring this team that I brought to my game against ZPanther. I really like this Fortress team, but it didn't have any success in my match with ZPanther because I got a little bit of bad luck, and then, you know, maybe I didn't play it perfectly, but I really wanted redemption for this team, so I wanted to bring it again. It's got Aurora Salamence, Pursuit Tar with counter, Fortress, Rapid Spin Spikes, obviously, the counter Blissey, you know, a very defensive Jirachi, and an Aerodactyl to clean up. This Aerodactyl is slower than most Aerodactyls, but it is faster than everything not named Aerodactyl or Jolteon, so, you know, it's still pretty adept at that. And you might have noticed that I've been talking a little bit less over this game. That's intentional. This match is a little bit long, and I think I don't need to comment on every turn. So please stick with me on this one. It's going to take a little while. Let's go. Toxic Tyranitar is a cool tech. I like it a lot. I noticed that Rock Slide does very little damage, and so I think to myself that this is going to be easy to counter later in the game. Now this is my sleep paralysis demon, this Dusclops here. This thing is so problematic for me. And once you see a Dusclops in a game, you can pretty much always tell that it's going to be a lot slower. Dusclops is really good at sitting there and taking no damage from anything. Granted, obviously, that's not the case all the time. Like, I've got a Crunch Tyranitar that can do big damage to it. But this guy indicates to me immediately that I'm probably ill-equipped for this game. Now, I've never seen Focus Punch Dusclops. I think that's a really cool tech. It's obviously good in the Blissey. I like that a lot. I don't know how common it is, but man, oh man, it's cool. Now you see that damage that I did, even when getting the prediction correct, was very low. I only did, it's at 43% right now, so that moved at 57% damage, which means for me to get rid of that thing, I need to crit it with Crunch or Pursuit while getting the 50-50 right, which is just super unlikely. Now here, sand is really important because I can ensure that the Suicune doesn't get leftovers chip, and that's very helpful because otherwise the Suicune might roll me over. Now there's a great play upcoming by him. Because he could tell that I was willing to brick break the Toxic Tyranitar, he noticed that I am willing to get Toxic on this Salamence just for an advantage. And so, by the way, that's a terrible idea. I should not be comfortable getting this Salamence Toxic, but he can anticipate a Fire Blast on this turn and live it and Toxic me anyway. Now, I do miss the Fire Blast, which sucks, and that's likely pretty impactful moving forward, but I get my Salamence Toxic, and I am sad. And I needed to accurately predict when Dusclops came in with my Tyranitar. I obviously didn't. I needed to wait a little bit longer, but that was the only way for me to get rid of that Dusclops efficiently. And I'm going to put this on fast mode, just so it speeds up a little bit. And on this turn, it gets revealed that I have basically no way forward because he has Aromatherapy Blissey. I can't status these dudes to get an advantage, which really sucks for me because that's pretty much all I have. And here I get a nice predict on this Tyranitar and counter the EQ and then get a KO, which is good, but, you know, Tyranitar wasn't really much of an offensive presence, and they do not need a Pokemon like Tyranitar on this team anymore. It's already gotten plenty of Toxics in. And now that I learned that it's a Rest Dusclops with an Aromatherapy Blissey, the only way I can get a KO is by getting a crit on that Crunch or a crit on Pursuit. This is another big mistake. I let up 3 layers of spikes, and Clops prevents me from rapid spinning in almost every scenario, so now these spikes are just going to eat me alive. Now I think this is silly. It doesn't matter that he Focus Punched my Tyranitar because it's asleep. I just think it's funny that I know that he Focus Punched. I know that that's in case it wakes up, but I just think that's funny. And that's the loop I'm in. I need Clops dead so I can spin, so that I can get Tyranitar in to kill the Clops, so I can spin to get Tar in to kill the Clops, so that I can spin. So you see what my issue is here. I need to get rid of these spikes, but I can't, no matter what I do. So this is kind of where he just kind of runs away with this game. Very well played by Bong on this. I feel as though he very heavily countered my team just immediately. And now he starts roaring my Pokemon. I have basically no recourse for this. I just need to continually take spikes damage. Now our reveal arrow to hopefully apply some pressure on the team. I get the predict right, double edge the incoming Suicune, and deal 30. That's the most damage I can do. Rad. Here he roars in my Tyranitar. Now the spikes will stay up for literally forever because I can't punish the Dusclops' existence. And every time I bring in Mence, I'm losing it to toxic damage, so really there's just so little I can do. I'm gonna be seeing this Dusclops in my nightmares. Even if I get a crit with that Dragon Claw, it doesn't do nearly enough. He just rests. Now this is the only reason that I even continue playing, because that double edge did substantial damage against Claydol. If I can get rid of Claydol, then I can get my own spikes up, and that would be huge. However, he just brings in Claydol and keeps it here, and if I choose to Rapid Spin once, I'm good. I thought maybe I could Boom, but then I would have spikes and he wouldn't, but I didn't think to put Rapid Spin there. I think at this point I was just dejected. I had so little way forward that I didn't even see the move in front of me. I somehow get it in my head that I do have a way forward here. I say, wait a minute, he's gonna focus punch me. I can counter that. It's a ghost type, Jacob. That's been your whole problem. And then he reveals the rest clay doll. Oh my god, I couldn't put spikes up now if I wanted to, but even if I did, the clay doll is still alive. I gotta give props to Bong though. Even though this is a slow, grindy game, he played it great, and my team really does not have the longevity to last through a game like this. So he very much picked a perfect team to play against me, and I think he deserves this win hugely. He played it very well. Oh shit, I just realized I revealed that it was a win. If you guys couldn't tell that I lose this game, like, it was clear so long ago. The only reason I'm playing it out is because, you want to hold out hope, but even getting crits with Aerodactyl, switching, and, getting all the right stuff, I don't think I could win this game. And that burn just makes me realize that, like, oh, I can't even heal with Jirachi that much anymore. It's very over. Again, congratulations to Bong. That was a fantastically played game. And obviously my brain couldn't handle playing for that well for that long. So anyway, let's get into game 3. And so here, Big Binky has not let me down once. I will be bringing Big Binky to everything until I die. So I chose to end off with this one. If it's my last game in this tournament, that's great. But I really just wanted to see if this could find a way into getting me a win. Because he did bring Skarmory every match thus far. So Magneton is really good. And against those slow, grindier matchups, if I end with Swampert or Snorlax, then I've got a much bigger chance of being able to clutch out a win at the end of the day. So I felt pretty good about bringing this. With that, on to game 3. And he leads Skarmory, and so obviously I swap into Magneton. You can't bring Skarmory 3 times and not expect me to try and bring Magneton once. But once Flygon is in, it indicates Superman to me, which also tells me that this is a field day for Starmie too. Starmie does very well in the Superman teams. That was a lucky freeze. I got cocky at this point too because of the fact that I have Starmie and that it's Superman and all this, so I did let that get to my head. Now this is the worst T-Wave of my life because he was expecting Rock Slide, obviously, and Flygon's good into both of those situations. And here's where I learned that Bong loves Aroma Blissey. Realistically, that should indicate to me quite a few rest users. I know that a lot of the time Misdreavus uses rest, and I probably could have assumed that the Zapdos has it as well at this point, but I probably should have been able to deduce more from that aromatherapy click there. Now here the T-Wave, or the T-Bolt Para on my Tyranitar kind of goes insane, because I could kill this Misdreavus with Pursuit, but I can't click it. Now I need you to understand something about this situation. I'm about to make the best decision of my fucking life. In this situation, what do? I've been switching out Starmie every time. Oh my gosh, also, sorry, there was a spike here this whole time. You put it up turn 1. I don't know why it didn't show, but so I've been switching into spikes this whole game. And in this situation, he's definitely expecting me to leave with this Starmie and go to Swampert here. I've revealed my whole team. There's no reason for me not to go to Swampert now. But because I'm so certain of that, he knows I would never just lose my Starmie immediately. I say this is an incredibly safe turn for me to Rapid Spin and get rid of that spike, and he wouldn't be able to put it up again. And I was right. Like, I think you could argue that that's not worth even trying, because if he chooses to Thunderbolt there, I probably lose. Like, Starmie is so good in this team, but I felt so confident in that decision, and it really paid off, because not having that spike is huge for all of my members that aren't named Salamence. This Moltres is the only thing standing in the way of Big Binky's success, because if it has HP Grass, that's the only thing that's threatening on this whole team, the Big Binky. He gets a Toxic on my Salamence. He's in my head. He knew I was going to swap off of Snorlax on that turn. But I get a safe Starmie entry on the Protect turn. And I double back to Swampert, getting him in safely, and I get to Curse Up on the Aromatherapy turn. Thankfully, I know as well that he's going to swap into Misdreavus there, because, I mean, this Swampert is mostly unrevealed. You don't necessarily know what it's got in store for you. You probably think that I'm going to EQ, and so that's a good turn to bring in the faster Misdreavus to rest. So if I HP Rock there, I get a free KO on Misdreavus. Here I expect HP Grass, and then I would live in HP Grass, and then I would KO back with my own Hidden Power Rock, but instead he burns me, and then the Hidden Power Rock doesn't KO, which is fine, but at this point I'm really expecting that he doesn't have HP Grass. But at this point, like, if he does have HP Grass, I do need to swap out, because if I eat an HP Grass at this level of health, I can KO the Moltres and live it, but the burn damage would be too much, and then I wouldn't be able to get another rest off, and because Big Binky is the way I win this game, I just really need to leave, even though I've gotten this boost up. It's a shame. But he reveals Rest, and at that point I'm kind of kicking myself, because if I just chose to Hidden Power Rock again, you know, it wouldn't KO the Moltres, but then I'm in with a threat that threatens not everything. Like, Flygon isn't doing that much to Big Binky, but I'm not doing that much to it either. So, you know, Big Binky doesn't answer all of these Pokemon perfectly, but if I'm staying in with one boost and I rest up, then that's huge for me. So switching out was a big mistake, I suppose, but I just wasn't expecting it. And the aromatherapy heals the sleep on their Moltres too, so now I'm sad. Now at this point, there's no way this Moltres has HP Grass. You totally click it there. Now here I choose to go for a pretty bold play and curse up on the Ice Beam. And instead of resting, I decide I'm just going to start EQing this thing. It'd be really helpful for me to get rid of this Blissey. I can't do that much to Swampert anyway. So even though Swampert's getting low here, I think that this is a really good trade because now both of his remaining 2 rest Pokemon have to naturally wake up from rest, including Zapdos, who's already sleeping and just went to sleep. I think that with a low health Big Binky, I can still come back. The Flygon EQ does KO at this range, but if I get into a scenario where I can get Swampert in with a couple of leftovers chip heals and then I can intimidate it with Salamence, but that's a really good way for me to move forward at this point. Now this D-Claw crit is very huge for me because now that of course allows me to just Dragon Claw again to get the KO on Moltres. I do think I was in a commanding position already, but that crit does feel bad. And now I'm team Lax is not our way forward anymore, so I opt to just kind of switch it into Flygon to die so that way I can move forward with my plan of getting the leftovers chip on Swampert and then intimidating with Salamence, because that only loses to a crit, and granted, while I should try and lose to even not crits, I just, I feel like that's a good line forward at this point in time. But he swaps to Zapdos, the sleeping Zapdos, so I go to my Swampert to try and rest up. This is where he reveals Sleep Talk, roars me out to the best outcome to Starmie, and a good player here might switch out and, fearing that he's gonna Sleep Talk Thunderbolt me and I'm gonna lose my Starmie. I just Ice Beam because I think that that's good damage on the Zapdos. It wouldn't KO, but it would be huge. And I guess he didn't think that I would stay in with Starmie, and so he swaps into Flygon, eats an Ice Beam, loses Flygon, and now at this point he forfeits because this Zapdos' only attacking move is Thunderbolt, which means that my Swampert just can't die. There's no way this Zapdos can kill me anymore. All in all, great games by Bong. You did play it very well. I just really had a good matchup into your final team here. But thank you so much for playing. They were very fun games. I really enjoyed my time playing them. I felt like I had to think quite a bit to make my way through the games, and then, I was thankful that with a little bit of luck and with a good amount of predictions, I was able to come out on top. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate you watching, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.